Before I do anything, I have to play this. And I hope I get a chance to talk to this drummer and look at him dead in the face. And if you see this reaction, I'm going to ask you this question now, and I'll give you a chance to come up with a really good lie to answer it later. But admit it now. This is literally an exercise to see how many different variations you can put on a mid-line fill. I really need to be careful what I say when I react to videos. All right, so how do I explain this? Arrival of Autumn. Now, those of you who have seen some of the things that we've done with this band before, we actually did a reaction to a previous song called Scars. And it was an amazing reaction. A lot of you saw it, and I thank you. In fact, a lot of the members of Arrival of Autumn saw it. In fact, so many of them saw it, they said, you know what? We saw that part where you said if you ever get a chance to talk to this person, you're going to ask questions. Well, guess what? The new album, Kingdom Undone, is coming out. Outstanding album. And this song, Ghosts, is one of the most impactful songs they have on the album. It's incredible. But the message behind it may not be what you're actually thinking. It looks a lot like a person with deep depression, and he's holding a Bible, and there's a gun involved, and that. And if you're just looking at that, you've only skimmed the surface. To get the answers, after this reaction, there is an unfiltered, unedited conversation between myself and that drummer who's actually going to tell all of us exactly what this video is about. And it will probably shake you to your core. Do not miss this interview. And we do make fun of each other and laugh our asses off. That's not a joke. We do have a lot of fun in this interview, but it's a long interview because we just lost track of time. We had that much fun. So enjoy the interview after this video, but let's get to the video first. This is Ghosts from Arrival of Autumn. One of the most impressive videos musically and storytelling that when I found out what the real meaning of it was, it gave me chills. Let's get into it. And yes, I will have this band's information in the description below. Please check them out. I don't know who mixed this song, but that rhythm section, that hook, and the drums are so forward. You hear every part of the mix in its own special way. Nothing is muddy. Everything is crisp and concise. You can hear the riff. You can hear the bass line. You can hear every element of the drums. The vocals are proper, both harsh and melodic. Whoever produced this, whoever did post mix and arrangement, outstanding. Let's keep going. Yeah, I know you're thinking right now watching the video, it's one thing, and I'm telling you you're wrong. Telling you. You want to know, watch the interview. You're gonna be shocked. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, gonna have a talk with one of the members of this band about this video, the album, and touring. These guys are from a tiny town in kind of central western Alberta, Canada, okay? Just east of the Rockies. And we have a sit-down chat. This interview is quite a bit long, but it is very entertaining because we joke a lot, but we do talk about this video. And if this video seemed like an amazing musical composition, it was. I love this song. The video seemed very troubling. But what did you think the video meant? The actual truth may shock you. And there's parts of this video that aren't on YouTube. At the end of this video, you see him holding the gun, and then it fades to black, and next thing you see him is on the floor, and it's unfocused. What if I told you there was a big chunk of the ending of this video cut out to make sure it even got on YouTube? Well, why should I tell you about that? We should just go to the interview. Are you ready? Here we go. Hope you enjoyed that. This is my sit-down interview with Arrival of Autumn.
Nailed it.
All right, everybody. I really, really need to be careful what I wish for because I have in studio, actually, what is it? We would say via satellite, but actually it's just a Zoom call.
It's a satellite, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna let's go
Oh,
live via satellite all the way from Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ty, the drummer that I said, boy, if I ever get a chance to talk to this guy, I've got some things I want to ask him. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm tolerable. It's this spring, man. It's the pollen. Pollen's killing me. I live in the South, like Southern United States. Like we've already hit like, I want to say 30 degrees Celsius for y'all already this year.
Nice. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's 80 somewhere in there.
Yeah, exactly.
90.
And I hooked it up for you because you're wearing a house coat, which we would refer to as a robe, because you're about to go jump in the washroom to take a shower. We call it a bathroom. Because
Canadians don't shower. It's fine.
Well, it's Thursday.
Yeah, true.
Isn't it? Shower day. I mean, Grant from Unleash the Archers told me Thursday is shower day. Was he lying?
Yeah, it is. No, he's correct.
Maybe that's just a British Columbian thing. I don't know. Anyway, so we're here to talk about a couple things. Namely, a band you're in.
That would be Arrival of Autumn.
Which is cool because, okay, here's the thing. Band names. Okay, real quick. Best band name ever. I'm popping a quiz on you right now. Because you're a drummer and I'm a drummer, so we should be able to do this. Best band name ever. Now, we're both drummers, so everyone's going to go, they don't know anything, but give it a shot. Best band name ever.
Anal cunt.
All right. Okay, after I edit that, what's the best band name ever?
Oh, all right.
By the way, I'm not editing a damn thing. But best band name ever without, getting both of us in trouble.
Slayer, I think, is probably the best band name.
Best band name, Slayer?
Aside, yeah, it's perfect.
See, I got to go with Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah, that's pretty sick too.
Yeah, it's not a metal band, but still Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah, that does rule.
As a Canadian, it's kind of like a real life thing now. Anyway, so Arrival of Autumn. Interesting band name considering where you guys are from. Now, for those of you who don't know where this band is from, okay, I want you to think about Canada, the land of maple leaves. Then I want you to go to the middle of said country, okay? And then skip over Saskatchewan, because I can barely say it. And in between Saskatchewan and the Rocky Mountains, the majestic Rocky Mountains, there's a place called Alberta. And if you go north into that territory, there's a little town, fairly flat, called Grand Prairie. And in this quiet Canadian town, group of musicians decided they're going to form a band and change the landscape of music in their area. And now it's going to go global, right, Ty?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it is global. We're doing it. We're working on it.
And I was impressed. My first reaction, you guys, was Scars. And I gave you, I'm not going to lie, I gave you a little harshness because I think the quote I said was, this drummer is doing something that I love, but probably confuses people. He has played the same line of rhythm, but somehow has played it different every freaking time. That was the comment I made. Is that a fairly true statement in Scars, the song?
No.
Come on. If you're playing it different, you're putting like the fill, the midline, there's something different. Like the rhythm is there. Okay, the down count is there, but you tend to throw a little extra something here and there. There's always something a little flashy there, a little creative, almost Neil Peart-ish.
That makes sense. Canadians, we just know what it is. It's just different riffs call for different things, and a lot of people will just copy and paste. If the verse drum beat is here, the next verse it'll be the exact same. So I try to like add little things here and there to make it differently. But I'm pretty meat and potatoes, man. Like most of my stuff is pretty straightforward and to the point because I'm not there to show off. I'm there to do what's best for the song. And sometimes that might just be changing little small things every turnaround.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the drummer answer to exactly what I just said. You're there, but there's always little flashes of creativity. But also you said you do what's best for the song.
Yeah.
And when I first heard Scars, which was my first time ever hearing your band, I was blown away by a simple premise of storytelling. Bands that don't tell storytelling, like musically, there's always something missing in music. If they don't tell the story, just basically, we, especially in metalcore and metal subgenres, we know the power of the harsh vocal, right? And because
Correct.
melodic tone vocals are not the mainstay of metal anymore, there's more variants. There's all kinds of vocals. Sometimes you have to tell a story musically to keep people engaged. It can't just be a repetition of the same thing. And I'm noticing that all of you allow each other to shine throughout Scars, where your guitarists, Liam, your bass player, and you as a rhythm section, you and Liam aren't just sitting back supporting the lead singer or the lead guitarist like traditional metal bands do, or they have done in the past. Everyone has their spot. Everyone adds to the dynamic. Everyone has an integral part, like a character in a story. I caught that on Scars. So when I heard that, my reaction was fairly evident, and I said, I got to hear more of this band. Luckily for me, you guys followed up with a brand new song called Ghosts. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, those that are watching this interview, they're going to see the album you guys have coming up. What's the name of the album?
Kingdom Undone.
Okay. So Kingdom Undone comes out in May, and it's the 26th.
May 26th. Yeah.
May 26th. And they can pre-order it now. And I'll have the link in the description below. You can go to Nuclear Blast Records. You can go to all the different social media for Arrival of Autumn, and you can pre-order yours now. There are still some available in that awesome orange vinyl.
Yeah.
I did check the website earlier. There are some available. Get yours now. Here's the thing. I love vinyl. I love to collect vinyl. So I pre-ordered one of the orange ones. That's how I know there's 42
Sweet.
left. I'm sorry. There's 41 left. So we those who are seeing this interview, obviously I've told them all to go see Scars. Okay?
Yeah.
So they know what I think about the band. After we have this chat, my reaction to the next one, Ghosts, is everyone's gonna see it. But before they see my reaction to Ghosts, those who have seen this video or have heard this song, this is a different animal. This is not templated. Yeah. This is a different feel. Can you, without giving away the reaction, it's dark. And it's dark like a lot of bands have done this last year. They are not shying away from telling a powerful and sometimes not a happy ending in a story. Can you reflect to us about your band, the group of you as musicians, tackling a subject like this? Because there's some imagery in here that can be a little triggering to people because this is a real life situation. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a very real situation. So it's hard because with music comes virtue signaling and trying to get points. And that's not what we do. That's bitch shit. We don't fuck with that.
Don't fuck with that.
No. So how do you tell a story without stepping on people's toes? Because it's not our story to tell. It's the Indigenous people of Canada's story to tell. And I think they're probably quite sick of everybody talking over top of them. So how do we tell that story, or at least bring awareness to it without, talking over top of them? So what we can do is at least bring people to the subject and encourage them to go check it out for themselves. Because with all that stuff comes a lot of, like I said, virtue signaling and things that, aren't best to just get to the bottom line and then learn about the subject. So what we did was tell the story through our hatred of religion. And that's where it all stems from. So if you don't know, when Canada was settled, it was settled largely based off of Catholicism, and
I'm French Canadian, so sorry. Yeah. I know, I get it. And down here, we're still Catholic.
Yeah, so the Catholic Church basically assimilated. Well, they did not basically. They assimilated people, and they genocided the Native Americans, and they tried to force them into residential schools. They did force them into residential schools, and they didn't. They showed complete disregard for human life, and they didn't even give these children proper burials when they would die. They would just put them in unmarked graves, and they're finding them all over Canada to this day still. And they found a ton of them over the last few years, and it's quite unnerving. So it's pretty intense. So again, it's not our story to tell, but what we can do is bring people to it and push them in the right direction. Yeah. Maybe they can find a source to go read about it themselves. It's pretty heavy. So the the Catholic Church is still doing it. Like the mistreatment of children is nothing new, and nobody does anything about it. So we're not ones to preach, but this is we wanted to get the point across without being preachy is I guess the best way to put it. And they made me edit out most of the music video because it shows him blowing his head off. But
yeah, it goes to some kind of I believe it goes to like a screen. All of a sudden you see him laying on the
yeah,
on the ground.
no, I have the whole thing.
Oh.
Done. It's awesome. And they were like, dude, this is great. We can't show this. I was like, come on. And YouTube did throttle the engagement because it showed a handgun.
Yeah.
And that was a whole thing. But I refused to bend on any more than that. I was like, the subject is real.
Art is art, man. You got to do what you got to do. And hey, maybe and I don't even know, and I hate to put words in your mouth, but maybe it could be shown in a live show. Maybe you could still show it, just not on a platform. Maybe you could put it in a live. If it's an over 21 show or an over 18 show, maybe you could put it on the screen, man. Sabaton does it. Granted, they're not doing that, but you know what I mean? Like they tell their stories. Okay. I totally get what you're saying. I mean, I totally get it. You're not exactly Bono phoning this in. Okay, man, I'm Bono, save the trees. You're not virtue sealing. So, you're literally putting it out there.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like, it's crazy because the residual effects of this are very real. And like, so my stepmom, she's indigenous. And like, even though we don't get along that well all the time, she's cool. She's a rad lady, and like her kids are my brother and sister. They're both indigenous, and her mom was even when she when you check like for your passport, it asks you what is your ethnicity, and it'll give you a list. She'll still check the white box because that's how you lived back in the day. Because you said you were white, so they didn't come take you away.
A similar situation occurred here in Louisiana, where I'm from, where because I was French, I was Acadian. We were from Nova Scotia, and after the French and Indian War, we were banished by the English because we lost. The Quebecers, they hung around. They don't give up. Those ornery people never give up. But we got kicked out of Nova Scotia. We tried to land, couldn't land in any English colony because they were all English colonies. Got all the way to Louisiana, and it was controlled by the Spanish. Don't. So they were even, and they were like, go to that swamp that's like 100 miles west of us. You can go there. And we were like, all right. And as we were growing up, they made us, how it's a little bit of a reverse. My mother's generation and my grandmother's generation were punished corporally, physically punished if they spoke French in school. They were forced to learn English. So it's
crazy.
It's like, it's just like a stamping out of whatever your culture is. And I think no matter where it happens in the world, you got to be aware of it. And I think
it's usually at the hands of the church, and that's where we come in.
It kills. I'm sorry to interrupt. Please go.
Yeah, that's where we come in. It's like I said, we don't want to talk over top of the issue because it's like I said, there's other people that I think are more justified to tell the story, but we can't just keep pointing the finger. The Catholic Church is responsible for this, and they're still doing it, and they still fuck with kids relentlessly. And I don't understand how people still dude, it's wild like that people would ever subscribe to something with that much on their blood on their hands all the time.
I think you're telling something really, really important that people need to be aware of, because we hear stories like bands like Bloodywood tell us a story of the situations going on in India and the generational oppression of women and all this, and they have many songs about that. Awesome. You have bands like Alien Weaponry talking about the Maori people of New Zealand and their struggles with colonialism and protecting their culture. No one ever thinks
not to.
What?
We make very clear not to, like I said, they're talking about their own people. I'm not indigenous, and nobody else in the band is indigenous, so we have to be very careful about because we can't go back on ourselves because we're always very adamant that virtue signaling is fucking weak.
Yeah.
So we had to put this out without actually saying what it's about. When people are figuring it out for themselves, and that's what we wanted. And it's not, they're not making us the poster boys for this because we don't want to be.
No.
We're just putting this into the ether and then hoping people will go look and research it themselves. So that's the goal here, is to make people think.
It's like the person who is compassionate versus the person who virtue signals. Anybody can give something to someone and say, look what I did. but it's the ones
Yeah, I
that
don't
do
want
it and never mention my name. I don't want to be in it. I did it because I wanted to help someone. I don't want any accolades for that. That's the real humbleness. That's the real giving. Here's the thing. I think because you and I live, you're in Canada, I'm in the US. The cultures, the indigenous cultures, are largely forgotten because we have so many other controversies politically and historically in both of our countries, different ones, of course, that I think the conversation about the indigenous keeps getting overlooked by other craziness that the story doesn't get told. And if telling a story musically that doesn't tag anything, but makes people look at something like, what are they talking about? And they dig and they find it, you've done your job.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, anytime that we can get a chance to say "fuck the church" and show a priest blow his head off, I mean, that's that's the goal. I mean,
It's a
that's what metal
daring
is.
goal.
Metal is supposed to be that. Metal is supposed to push boundaries like that, and I think that was important. Especially a band like us. We're not like a black metal band or like a crazy death metal band. It's weird for a lot of people to see a metalcore band do that. I mean, to take that kind of stance, and that's
It is
good for
unique.
us.
It is
Yeah.
unique. I mean, most of the time, metalcore bands are trying to. I guess it's weird because I don't like even saying that Arrival of Autumn is metalcore, because I don't really hear a genre there. I just hear an aggression and a creativity. Because there are some things you guys do that are metalcore, and then there's some things there that are not. Like, this is a little different. This isn't some rubber stamp thing that we say, "Ooh, it's metalcore. Let's put it on this channel on satellite radio." It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit into a mainstream sound because it is too personal. There's a lot of bands lately that are doing that, and they know that they don't fit in a genre. They have elements, but they're unique. That's what caught my attention on Scars. But when I listened to Ghosts, I'm like, okay, well, this is a complete left turn into a dark place. I had preconceptions. I mean, I was thinking, man, this is kind of like a metalcore, but yet they got a lot of progressive, added elements. But of course, they're not playing a 25-minute, trilogy of music at one time. But there was a uniqueness of sound that was going on that kind of set you apart. I'm like, they're from Canada? Well, that makes a lot of sense because it seems like every Canadian band I've run across in my entire life doesn't fit into a mold. That's why I think it's just a Canadian thing. And then I think Ghosts has me really contemplating the entire album, because I know there's more stuff coming up on this album that is talked about. There are songs. I mean, they just gave me a list of these songs that someone had talked about. Bury Me, One More Day. Yeah. These are other songs on this album that make people turn their heads, and I'm like, what are these songs about? So what can we look forward to coming up next?
Yeah, lyrically, I know that One More Day and Hell Comes Home are definitely not my. I know what it's about, of course, but I can't actually talk about what they're about but they're very personal. I think if you listen to the lyrics, you'll understand.
Okay. I know a lot of this stuff we have to wait because the album hasn't released yet. Yeah. These songs haven't been done yet, but I didn't mean like specifics, but like, can you say you're going to push more boundaries throughout this album? Subject-wise, music-wise, or both?
Yeah, subject-wise, I don't think you can really get much further than Ghosts and to do it the way that we did it, with still being respectful of the people that it happened to. And that was we hit our goal there. It wasn't like we didn't just see that, oh, this happened, we should write about it. This was a feeling that Jameson wanted to write about because he felt something. It wasn't like, how can I exploit this? Because that's you can't do that shit. That shit makes me cringe. It's a real thing, and I think we still need to drill it into the people's heads. The Catholic Church is up to no good. And they need to be held accountable. And they never once they don't take responsibility for their actions. They can't they don't even, I don't know, they've never paid for it in the long run, and they don't even pay taxes. So I mean, they
don't pay taxes here either. I think what's really weird is it's almost like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Follow me this. We hear about so many things that are ugly so often they're no longer shocking.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable too. Like, who wants to sit and talk about this all the time too?
No,
It's
not
like,
when you put light on something, it is a disinfectant, but now you can see what's going on. And some people don't like to kick the ant pile, as we say down here. Nobody wants to stir it up. I know that you and I thought we'd have a really funny, hilarious, joking conversation, but as soon as I brought up ghosts, how can you joke about something that's that heavy and that subject matter central and it's that important? So stepping away from that, Arrival of Autumn, interesting name for a band, especially one that is on the foothills of the Rocky Mountains just east. I don't even think you guys have an autumn. Doesn't it go from like summer to winter?
oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous autumn.
Because everyone thinks Canada is always frozen and always cold, but that's just not the case. I mean, the fields of Alberta are very similar to like the fields of Kansas and Nebraska. I mean, it's vast flatland that's just gorgeous. And you guys are known for epic skylines, like sunsets and just beautiful. Yeah, it's just, you guys get stuff that we're just like, oh, that must be smog. You know, because we don't get that here. But yeah, so here's the thing. Growing up in a small town, we would where I'm at, we would refer to that as a small city. What was the process of saying, okay, we're starting this metal band? How do we get out? How do we expand beyond just Alberta? Because you guys have been around for a bit. So what was this transition and then clicking into Nuclear Blast? Because I read some of the story and things developed really fast all of a sudden. Like the right person got in contact with you guys. Next thing you know, you guys are collaborating with amazingly creative people. So tell us a little bit about that journey for you guys.
I always thought that, our music was good enough that it just had to be heard by the right people. I knew if we went to a real producer and brought the songs that we had, things would be okay. And we did, and he sent it out for mix notes. And one of those people he sent it to was Monty Connor. And then Monty heard it and said, I want this band. And then he bounced us back 2 or 3 times. And then, we ended up giving us the deal. And that was super cool. It's not something that happens, and it doesn't really happen much anymore.
No.
We got super lucky, and it's a pretty cool story. And the last time we got bounced down for demos, we got stuck in a Category 5 hurricane. We knew it was going to hit. And I think that was kind of what sealed the deal. They knew that we were like ready to die for this shit.
That sounds like a Tuesday down here where I live. I live in South Louisiana. Yeah. I mean, I know what a Category 5 hurricane feels like. Yeah, that's some commitment. Okay.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Not only did you get lucky, but look at the label you guys are on.
Yeah,
you guys are in a label that wants their artist. There are labels like Napalm, Nuclear Blast, Century Media that they're not like so much worried about radio play like so many labels here in the US and Canada have done for the last 40 years. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. But to get onto a label, and I can't pay these labels in Europe enough tip of the hat to them, where they're like, okay, we want you to make the most creative music you can, and we're going to find you that audience. Because the days of radio telling the world this is what you need to listen to are kind of over. I mean, you look at bands who 3 years ago were regional bands from the Ukraine or from the UK or Canada, and they just come across the right music, and then these labels get it out on social media and here, like on YouTube with reactors and whatnot. And when a member of my community literally said, you got to check out Arrival of Autumn, and then shared Scars with me during a live Twitch stream, because I was doing up and coming bands. And I try to do that every Saturday because I feel like it's my job. If I have this platform, who is the person that's going to go find those bands, regional, undiscovered, give them a platform, get their music out, whether it be to 1,000 people, 10,000 people, maybe the right person sees it, they share it, next thing you know, that could happen. And it happened for you guys. So one of my community members, who is from Canada, by the way, I think it was kind of a, homage, said, dude, you got to check out this band. Freaked out, saw it, I messaged you guys. By the way, I just did I just saw your band. I just saw your thing. I just did a reaction live on Twitch. I sent y'all that message. You guys were like, cool. I didn't even know you guys were on Nuclear Blast at the time. Didn't even know. Didn't know.
Oh shit.
And then I did the reaction. Nuclear Blast is like, you do know that they're on our label, right? I was like, no, I just thought they were an awesome band from Canada that one of my community members shared. And they were like, yes, and they're putting out an album, and you said that you would love the chance to, if you ever get a chance to talk to the drummer, they were paying attention. And here we are.
Yeah,
you and I are talking. You're in your house coat. And I'm in an old school nerd t-shirt.
Sick, dude. My sister bought this for me, and I don't take it off. As soon as I get home, I'm just fucking all about it. It's the best thing I own. And now I'm going to wear it for most interviews, I think, because it throws people off. And it's like, dude, are you in a house coat right now?
That's the first thing I said. That was the first thing I said. Dude, are you wearing a robe? And you were like, it's my house coat. And I went, nice. Hey, that's a very large thing to do. You should wear that out to the stage and then take it off every show.
I absolutely will.
Because that's what he does. You know that he's been doing that for like years. He'll wear a robe or a house coat. He'll wear it out to stage because he used to not wear clothes. He used to wear shorts. He'd try to stay warm, and he would take the robe off and he'd go out on stage. You should do that every show now. You got to bring the house coat on tour now. Every show.
I should. I gotta get a hood on it. That's what I need.
Oh, Emperor Palpatine, that shit.
I should.
And then take it off, like go up on the kit, on the riser, stand up and just take it off.
I think that's the move.
It might be, but you just said that you don't like to make it about yourself. But okay, maybe just make that about yourself. Let that be the one thing that's selfishly yours.
Live show. That's a different story. That's literally people are there. I'm on the stage ready. I mean, it better make it about myself, or what the fuck are the people paying for?
What you got to do is you got to get you some really good shorts. So maybe some with some giant pickles on there. So when you come out, you're like, I'm kind of a big deal, you know?
I got new Bucky's shorts. They're pretty sick.
Yeah. Do you know who Lauren Babick is over in Toronto? She's a singer for Red Handed Denial, and she has a YouTube channel. Great singer, amazing harsh vocalist. And her band Red Handed Denial, she's obsessed with Buc-ee's. She came down and toured in the US.
I ate a brisket sandwich at fucking 9 a.m. It was awesome. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. It was amazing.
Which Buc-ee's did you go to?
I don't know, man. They're all the same shape.
Yeah, they're giant. They're huge.
Yeah.
There's one an hour and a half this way, and they're building one 20 minutes from my house.
Sick.
I know. See, now you guys have to come down and tour the South in Texas and stuff. I'm gonna be there, man. I'll bring you Buc-ee stuff. I'll do it.
Sick.
I don't care. I'll bring a giant inflatable Buc-ee. You could put it on the stage. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll do it. Dude, I was there and they brought out Buc-ee like in the mascot costume. Like, who wants a photo with Buc-ee?
He comes out for the kids.
And then everybody, dude, it's a wild, depressing, it's Americana at its finest. There's just like fat families lined up for fucking miles to take a picture with this fucking beaver. And I'm like, you guys are crazy. And I'm sitting there I'm like just so taken aback by this. I'm like,
so
wow.
Lauren was on tour and she got COVID in Midland, Odessa, Texas. So Midland, Odessa, Texas is to Texas what Grand Prairie is to Alberta. It's in the west part of the state. It's flat, not a lot around. It's beautiful, but it's not a lot around. And she was stuck there for a week in a hotel room, and she went to the Buc-ee's and a grocery store called the H-E-B, got her a cowgirl hat, and she lost her mind, dude. She was live streaming going, okay, so I went to the grocery store here, and it's nothing but meat smokers and ice chests. Y'all gotta help get me out of here. Yeah, it was a lot. But that's
amazing though.
That's Texas though. Texas is, but people don't realize that Alberta and Saskatchewan and those areas have more cowboys there than in Texas. People don't realize
it's oh yeah.
It shocks people.
Cowboy heaven here.
Oh yeah, it is.
Stampede.
I mean, why do you think they called it Stampede Wrestling for so many years, man? Back in the day.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. All right, so since we've meandered off subject of the band, we should get back on subject, even though we're having a lot of fun. The album's coming out.
I want to talk about my rope some more. Actually, dude, I'm not done.
All right, cool. Well,
I'm just
number
kidding.
one,
No, you
you know what? We'll talk about it later. And this is the deal. This is the deal. I was going to talk to you about the album release, which we've already mentioned the date. People need to go to the description, pre-order their album. When it comes out, do a deep dive, everybody. Because if you think these first two songs blew your mind, there's more coming. But
the rest of it's just like smooth R&B. It's pretty sick. I think you guys will like it a lot.
Kind of like an Earth, Wind, and Fire kind of thing. Mostly wind because of where you guys are from.
Yeah. And then also another important thing too is go to Spotify and stream it, because I love how Spotify shows how many people listen to you. So they drive a lot of, you have to do a bunch of unpaid work to drive people to their platform that they don't compensate us for. So it's awesome. I love it. And I think it's a really great business model to make people do work for free. It's great.
Buy the damn album in a physical copy, everybody, please. And also, you guys are going to tour this album, right? Are there any plans for that yet? That I don't know about?
It just got announced at noon o'clock today. A complete West Coast tour dropped.
Okay, so that would be 1 o'clock for me. Probably why I missed it. I was napping. I work hard.
Same.
You said West Coast?
West Coast. We just wrapped up East Coast with Heathen. And now we kick off in Grand Prairie on May 26th, the day of the album. And we go down south to Cupertino, California, and then back up to Canada. So we're...
Okay, so you're hitting coasts. When are you going to get to the creamy center of the country now? You got to do a little bit of creamy center at some point. Because I'm in the creamy center.
We're in the works for that. We're working on that right now, too.
Now, I'm not going to bug you here, but I may drop like creamy center, guys, on Instagram, just between us, hey, creamy center. And this is why. If you can find your way to Texas or Louisiana, New Orleans, Houston, Texas, Austin, come down. Number one, Buc-ee's for days, guys. Buc-ee's, and we'll do a barbecue crawl. I don't care. We'll do it.
Yes,
I have seen it. There's a house coat with some beaver faces on it, with a hood.
Yeah, get it for me.
I can. Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? There are two things I'm bringing to the Arrival of Autumn concert. My first one. Number one, a hooded Buc-ee house coat.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
What size?
Large.
It's documented. This is being recorded. XL. We can go extra large just in case you go a dad bod later in your career. You can roll in this thing for years.
Oh, dude, I'm dad bodding right now. This is me at my ultimate form.
It's my best rock life. And the other thing is, I got to get a Arrival of Autumn Old School Nerd license plate. There's Ginger, Dragon Force, Bloodywood, Malevolence. So we got to get one up there that says Arrival of Autumn. You guys sign it, goes on the wall, and on the wall. Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Got to get this going.
Yeah, that would be sick.
That's what we do. And in the meantime, you guys are always welcome. You guys ever want to drop anything? You need something thrown out there? Just throw me I'll let everybody I know. The problem is most of my people are in Europe. So now we got to get you over to Europe now.
That's the goal, man. We're working on it.
I could see you guys at Spring Breeze, 180,000 people. I could see you guys at Walken, 80,000 people. I could see it.
That would be.
I could see it.
I mean,
yeah.
That's the goal on this record. We're working on it right now, and hope things are going good. People seem to be responding well to the new single, so can't ask for much more than that.
Your sound does remind me of another Nuclear Blast artist that I've fallen in love with last year. Some really homed down, lovely young lads from the UK, Malevolence, and
Malevolence fucking rules, man. Our singer's been in my ear, dude. Check out Malevolence. I heard one song. I was like, no, I didn't. I just was like, not for me. I don't care. I don't care.
They're hardcore. They're hardcore UK.
No. So I checked out another song again after he's like, dude, I checked out again. I was like, why did I bat this off the first time? I was like, this fucking rules so hard. And I'm a hardcore kid. Like, that's my shit. I like.
Oh yeah.
Like,
just
Drain has been my go-to. Like Drain and Tsunami. Tsunami is the best band on the planet right now. I think.
Yeah. Well,
and I won't.
When Malevolence's album they dropped last year, had a song called Still Waters Run Deep. And the intro to that has such a guttural, heavy groove that sounds like old school Pantera, so much so that when they came to Austin, I said, listen, when you guys go out there, right before you play Still Waters Run Deep, got to go out there and say, this one's for Dime, and just drop it. And they did. And the crowd,
I'm buying
the crowd lost their ever-loving shit.
Yeah, man, I'm buying what Malevolence is selling. I think they mean it, and they fucking rip so hard.
Great guys. Great guys. My fiance and I hung out in their RV for almost 45 minutes. I brought them snacks because they were struggling with snacks on the road, because when they got to the US, food prices were through the roof, even for snacks. And some of their members are vegan. So we hit the Sam's, and we did the
Sam's Club.
Sam's and Costco size everything. And they were like, we don't know what to do it. I'm like, well, then freaking eat it, bitch. And they did. So great guys, great live band, and the sounds are similar. And look at what they're doing now. They're doing big festivals, and that's what I'm thinking. You guys, that's what's coming for you guys, because the sound, the creativity, the storytelling, that's what new metal that these labels in Europe are looking for, because the audience is hungry for something that's not cookie cutter.
They want riffs, man, and that's why Bleed From Within's doing so good. We're like another, like, that's kind of our MO. Like the earlier Bleed From Within records, they got riffs for days, and their new album's amazing. But I don't know, they're just killing it right now. They're doing good things. They're bringing back the riff.
Okay, Brendan or Ryan, who's the better riffer?
They're both equal, man. They're both so unique that you can't really.
They have their styles are so different. You can't compare an apple to an orange. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. You know it's Ryan when you hear it. You know it's Brendan when you hear it.
Yeah. They would probably say each other is better than the other. They're probably very humble about it too, right?
I think Ryan would probably tell you he's better. but dude, Ryan is actually my favorite guitar player of like probably ever.
Okay, why? Because you're a drummer and so am I. There's something about a guitarist that drummers feel, and then there's sometimes I hear a guitarist and I'm like, I'm not feeling what they're doing. Is it the groove? Is it just
so? He's got an ear, man. He can, you know, it's his riffs and creativity, and like he's got his own sound, and it's his. Nobody sounds like Ryan, and that's what's really cool.
This will probably not make the interview. This one will probably not make the interview. This is just for me. As a drummer, when you're behind the kit, do you listen or do you watch their arms, their shoulders, to get that feel of what they're going? Because sometimes when I'm playing and I'm playing with people, I can watch a guitarist's elbow on the strum hand and watch their shoulder, because you can almost feel when they're about to change something. Sometimes I like to watch them and get a cue from their body language.
Oh,
sometimes
yeah. So I don't, because all my stuff's set in stone. I don't even look at them at all. But if I'm jamming, or if I'm with a band and we're playing on the floor with people that I don't know, I watch the feet. If I know that they raise up on their heels, if they raise up on their toes, that's how you know something else is coming. I know there's a cue there.
I same thing when they arch their shoulders, like when they crunch their shoulders, it's like they're about to get into something, but then when they relax and they pull back, you're like, okay, he's coming off of something. You can feel the person's body language, but only when you're like jamming. I mean, when you're on a set, you have to sit to the set because that's what you guys rehearse for. You got to do your best performance. But in a jamming sense, you know what I'm talking about. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I thought it was just me. I thought I was crazy, but I mean, I am, but that's not the point.
Yeah, so, guitar players raise up on their heels when they're about to switch. They go up and then they come down in the part switch every time, like clockwork.
They're so easy.
Big time.
and all vocalists are prima donnas.
Our vocalist is pretty good. He's super chill.
Dude, I am slightly down that I didn't get to tell him this firsthand, but you can tell him for me. I've heard a lot of harsh vocalists in the last 2 or 3 years, because it's been it's the thing. And it appears that lately in the last year, the breakdown has been the TikTok fad of metal bands. And I noticed
Fuck
you guys
TikTok.
didn't, I don't get that from him. What I do get is when he does his harsh vocal, he's not trying to be harsh. He's
It's his voice.
trying to sing the song with a grit and aggression that you can understand, which is very important, by the way. That means that he's not just being harsh just so he can sound metal. He's trying to put an emphasis in the lyrics. And then when he comes out of that and goes melodic, his melodic tone with that grit and that earnest, real emotion, it's like listening to him sing in Scars, and then of course, definitely on Ghosts. It's personal. It's really personal. When he sings, it's one of those things like he's not singing for fans. That's not what he's doing. He's trying to tell someone something extremely heartfelt, and that person desperately needs to hear it, and he desperately needs to tell them. That's what I'm hearing and feeling when he sings. And hopefully he'll see this interview and he'll know that's what I'm getting from you, brother. So
I would say that's more like that's definitely the difference between Harbinger and Kingdom Undone. It would be that exact statement and what he's trying to directly communicate, I think, with the audience, especially on 3 or 4 songs specifically. That would be absolutely true.
And I think that's one more reason why I think you guys. I'm not saying you guys are trying to be the biggest rock stars in the world. Nobody's trying to do that anymore. You're trying to be who you exactly are, tell your story the way you want to tell it, and luckily you're on a label that allows you to do that with freedom like that.
Yeah, like we tried to like for the TikTok and the social media stuff, like they give us like a lot of suggestions, and then they're like TikTok, like why do people want to see people lip syncing dumb shit? And then they're like, you guys should do this. And then we finally drew the line. We're like, yo, like we can't be grown men lip syncing to caption. Like that's fucking insanity. We're not doing it. And the label messaged us back and said, dude, totally, we understand. Like it is pretty whack. But for some reason, the consumers have decided that's what they want. But I don't think anybody enjoys that. Maybe I'm just getting older, but like it's fucking cringy. I hate it, and I think it's bullshit, and it's bad. I think it's bad for the brain.
Okay, let me put it like this.
I think it's whack.
I think the business model of the Spotify that you love so much might work like that, but to get someone to load up his fiance and all of his friends and tell 70,000 people on YouTube when they tour, I don't care if it's a 3-hour drive, a 4-hour drive, you need to be there to see this. You can't do some lip syncing crap on TikTok and get people to do that. The people that are going to travel, they're going to pre-order a vinyl, they're going to get into the band's message. That message needs to always be authentic. The second you become a cliche, you're not. Remember, we used to call it selling out. Everybody sells out now, but the ones who don't, they're iconic. I mean,
but also you can be creative. TikTok is a tool, and you can be creative with it, be funny, but like I don't know. I don't want to see some unsolicited advice on like mental health and shit that I didn't ask for. It's like, fuck off. Like, get out of here with that. Not here for it.
If you guys
I don't want to see it.
If you guys did some like outtakes or some funny stuff that makes the kids laugh,
we'll do that.
Yeah, that stuff. That is gravy. We love it because that gives that glimpse. That here's the thing: the contrived artist. That it's all about the image. It's all about the image. The problem with that is the
That's
image.
Why I shut up my fucking house coat today.
Yeah, well, whatever, Hugh. Anyway, Hefner, where's your pipe at, bro? No, seriously, all the hype and trying to be this brand is fine, but if you can't make yourself as a real person that's relatable, I mean, if you come off as real people, real guys with living real lives, people get into that. We believe it. I mean, why do you think people still watch pro wrestling? They know it's fake. They care more about what's going on behind the scenes and all the drama. I mean, that's a huge moneymaker for them.
People, it's crazy that people still watch pro wrestling. I'm like, what the fuck, guys? Like, get out. Like, what do you do? I got a lot of friends that watch it.
Yeah.
And I I used to be like actively like would just rag on wrestling, but now that I have a lot of close friends that want, because I'm a UFC guy, I'm an MMA dude,
Yeah.
that's my
Well, now
shit.
they're the
So
same,
like
so you're
naturally,
screwed. But yeah,
yeah, Endeavor, yeah, took over. We'll see how that goes. Ruin my sports tomorrow. It was
whatever.
sick. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I thought it would lose out, but I mean, it's bigger than ever. And so, I mean, I have to understand that, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not for somebody, but I'm still allowed to make fun of it.
The point I was making about it is on YouTube and social media, there are a lot of views of the highlights of the pro wrestling events, right?
Yeah.
But they are nothing compared to the rumor websites and the websites and channels that talk about the behind the scene contract drama or this person's really
Dude.
injured. Look, people want to know the
If you're
real
on-
deal that's going on, and that goes with bands too. It's like
If you're looking at fake,
like
if
country
you're looking
music.
at like,
Here in country music, here in the US and even in Canada, country music is still kind of big. These country artists go out there and they're twanging and they're hemming and hawing and they're wearing the cowboy boots and the cowboy hat and their Wrangler jeans and their button down shirts and they're talking like this. And when all those people leave the venue, they go in the back, put on flip flops, shorts, and they're talking like you and I. There's a difference between being the artist and being real. And I think a lot of the metal community, they want to feel something real now, because we went through we went through the 2000s, we went through the 2010s where the industry was churning out these what was that? Where they were just churning out these bands that were, it was like Twilight, but it was music, but it wasn't. But it was, but it wasn't. And you had some sparkles, but there was so much industry. It seems like metal is kind of rejecting it, and they just want real bands. And they don't care what they look like. They don't. They don't care.
There's still a fair bit of bullshit out there. I mean,
There is, but not for me. If a band's not real, it's not going on my wall. I'm not going to pay money to see a band that's contrived. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, like there's a couple. I don't know, I try not to talk too much shit about like any bands because
you might need their label one day.
Yeah, true. Like, what's that? Like, oh man, I saw like the worst tour ever that got announced. Was it Mudvayne? The Mudvayne tour? I was like, oh, brutal. I'm glad they're all touring in the same place though, so I don't have to be near any of them. So I was like, sweet. I was like, thank God.
It was interesting.
Like, the music stinks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get it. It's like the guys from Static X got back together and
Static X rules.
They're touring, but did you see their new video? I did a reaction. They did the video, and they paid tribute proper. Like, they're not trying to emulate it. And the way they're doing this tour, they're really trying to pay proper respect to Wayne. If they had done it any other way, it wouldn't have worked well. But
yeah, I think
they're doing it the right way, and it works. I liked it. I thought it was great.
I think their live show looks nuts and it's fantastic. I've been a Static X fan for forever though.
It's kind of like Dimebag and Wayne. They're one-offs, man. They're impossible to replace. But as long as people pay them homage, they're never really gonna be gone. So I think it's cool like that.
Yeah. It's a sad story. That's what drugs do, man. The drugs ruin that whole situation. And there is still, I think, more music to be done. If you heard Static X's last record, it was not good at all.
No,
and that's the direct result of it. It was bad because then they don't put out bad albums. So you can hear what drugs do and like the effect that it takes, especially on the people around you. And like that's what happens, and it ultimately cost him his life. And that's what happened. Like, it happened to me. Like, actually on this upcoming tour, one of my best friends passed away a few months ago, and he left me his drum set.
Wow.
And I had to fix it back up. I put it back together, and now I play that on the road. It's like a constant reminder that I'm still here. I get to do this. Take it seriously and keep your nose clean, because drugs and mental health ultimately, alcohol was the big one.
And you beat on them. You beat on them because you're mad that happened. You wish you could go back and do anything to bring that person back and get it to not happen, but you can't.
Yeah, so
but you have to go on.
It's not the nicest it's not the nicest looking kid ever, but it's the only kid I'm going to play on these upcoming shows, and I want to do something that's for his family and it's for him because he never got to tour and he never got to do those things. So that's a very real thing. That's why the Static X thing hits me pretty hard too. Is because I had to just go through that with a buddy, and now I'm literally playing his most prized possession on these shows.
Hey everybody, this is Ty Fox from Arrival of Autumn, and I know the house coat makes him look like a douchebag, but talking to him, I got to tell you, you're just not, dude. I mean, look at what you're doing.
Oh, I am.
No, come on. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Look, you're like me. Like you said before we started this interview, you have no problem riffing on anybody. It's fun. That's the kind of people I love. I mean, I took a piss on Bloodywood for almost 4 hours when I met them in Dallas. I had those guys looking for hamburgers, and they're all vegan. Took them to like 3 hamburger restaurants. They're all vegan. I'm a dick. Sorry. But no, you've just confirmed it. You just confirmed it. No, not the douchebag. You're a real guy. You're real. You're authentic. Just the stuff you're telling me about. Well, I mean, I knew that already, but you have all these haters and trolls on the internet that want to just make up and just assume things. Oh, they're a metal band, so they have to be this. It's just Ty, man. You're playing a drum kit from a friend of yours who lost his life after a long struggle. You're playing it in tribute to him and his family, and it means something to you. You guys are writing songs that are so heavy in the subject matter, but at the same time, you're like, it's not about us. And
fair.
You're doing it the right way, with a smile on your face, a stupid trucker baseball hat turned backwards with a house coat on. And I appreciate the shit out of that. In fact, I got to get me a house coat for the next time we chat.
Absolutely. You do. You need the Buc-ee's one.
Ooh, I should get one and tease you.
Like you pull it down a little when you're talking to me, or
I mean,
tease. Oh, just tease.
My man, look, my man body, my dad bod titties are pretty awesome, but I wasn't gonna do it. I wasn't gonna go that.
Show some fucking skin. Get with the program. You want to be a star, don't you?
Oh, I do want the people to love me.
Yes,
no.
Want to make $1,000 to $5,000 a day?
Dude,
I make a demo tape.
I did a Greta Van Fleet reaction once, and I still get hate. I still get hate from their fan base because I didn't genuflect and do it on one knee and refer to them as the greatest band of all time. I still daily get messages of just trolls personally shitting on me.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything for me until the singer said he didn't know what Led Zeppelin was, and I was like, "That's a power move. That fucking rules."
and then Robert Plant does the interview and calls him a liar.
Yeah, I was like, "This rules."
It's so boss, but no, but I mean, it's like no, it's great because I take all the trolling, hateful comments that I get on YouTube because when I do reactions, I don't know anything about the bands. I don't pre-watch. I don't know anything. You're lucky I even looked up the release date for the goddamn album. Because the idea is I try to do reactions where it's pure. I really want to do a reaction. Like I don't know anything about it. So because I don't know everything about a band, they shit all over me. So what I do is I take all those wonderful comments and I post them on Patreon and we just get a good laugh out of it. Oh, my community thinks they're hilarious.
Yeah, I got the label asked me to do. They're like, dude, you should do like stand up and post some of it to like your TikTok and stuff. So I sent them like a 30-second clip of my stand up, and they're like, see, yeah, this is great. So I sent them the next 30 seconds. They're like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah, you don't want this.
You don't want me going with my blue material.
No, it's a separation of church and state, and eventually it's gonna blow up my face eventually. And when it does, who gives a fuck?
Dude, I'm a drummer in a metal band from Alberta. You think I give a shit about this? I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I could give a fuck.
All right, everybody. This was my conversation with Ty Fox. He's got to go. He's got to go take a shower. He just got to finish doing was it kickboxing?
Yeah, I got to go back too.
You got to go back?
I got to go back. They brought me in for some dude who was like wanted to learn how to spar today, so I had to go in and help him out, and then now I got to go do my thing and get beat up.
That's commitment. Literally,
I suck at it. Don't think.
No,
I'm
you
not.
literally show up to say, "I'm here to get my ass kicked."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tumbling.
You got to appreciate that, folks. All right, I appreciate your amazing amount of time. Cannot wait to get this album. I did pre-order. I wasn't joking about that. I wasn't bullshitting.
Thank you very much, man.
No,
Means a
because
lot.
when I said there was 42 left, and I said no, there's 41. There really is only 41 left. I did order.
I checked yesterday.
It's good, man. Good man. Way to stay on top of it. It's always the drummers, man. The drummers keep everybody nailed down because, you know, these guitarists and lead singers, man, they're too busy posing. You know, posing for the album, you know, the photo shoot. Yeah. It's down to the bass players and the drummers, man. Rhythm section forever. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not kidding. If you guys come to Texas or Louisiana, I will be there with a Buc-ee's house coat for you.
Let's eat breakfast. Let's eat brisket for breakfast, dude.
For breakfast.
Yeah.
To eat breakfast, you have to sleep.
True.
We're barbecue pub crawling all night.
Deal.
No, we're not. I'm too old for that shit. All right, dude. I appreciate your time, man.
Appreciate you.
Seriously. I really get what you guys are doing. And I'm so glad that somebody in my community in the middle of a live stream said, you got to check this band out. And I'm so glad that I did.
Thank you very much, man.
One more damn band from Canada that I love. This is getting sick, man. You guys are nuts, man. It started with me at 6 years old with Rush, and it hasn't stopped yet. Well, if you're gonna have a vice, make it Canadian rock and metal. I think. You know what no one ever talks about? Metal bands from Louisiana. Nobody ever talks about it. You want to know why? Because we don't have any. I started one and we gave up after like a year. So.
Shit.
The food's too good. We were too drunk and too full of crawfish to play. It was bad. It was rough. All right, dude. Enjoy your sparring. Keep that beautiful face. You know, keep your hands up.
I will. I'll try, man. Thank you very much.
See you later, Ty.
Have a good day, dude.
Peace, man.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to subscribe, right there. Big thank you to all my Patreons out there. We appreciate everything you do. If you want more content like this video, check them out above. Remember, love one another, take care of each other. We're all stuck on this mud ball together. We'll see you later.